Well, welcome again for the 19th time this morning. Feeling good. I hope you are too. So, my name is Sonya Bradley. I'm the owner of Simply Promotions. We've been an event company for the past 12 years, and we've been a marketing agency and on our way into the Simply Pros Business Club with my partner, David. David and I have known each other for a long time, over 6 years. I actually met him at one of these marketing classes over in Wesley Chapel. So that's how our adventure started. And then during COVID, I decided that I did not want to be a full force event company anymore. I started merging into the marketing world. We started doing these classes for fun online when we were locked up at home, and we both enjoyed it. Then COVID took its course over the period of 2 years, and we circled back around and started talking about this club. What does it look like? What do we want to offer? What value do we want to give its members? One of the first things we knew we wanted to offer is to teach everyone how to dominate in their industry online. There's so much information out there. You can YouTube yourself to death, and I always suggest having a couple mentors to direct your education in the right way. So we hope we can be one of those resources for you today. So that's a little bit about us. What we're going to cover is how to supercharge your marketing online. So here's what we hope that you take out of today. We want you to learn some skills to create a successful content plan. What does that look like? What time do you actually have in your day to spend on it? So let's get real with ourselves right away and figure out what type of person we are. And I'm going to help to ask some of those questions in just a few minutes. Learning the best practices to dominate online. What does that mean, right? How can you do that? Being more methodical and strategic with your ways instead of spraying everywhere. And sometimes we catch ourselves and we're like, oh, none of this is working, right? So we're going to work on some of that today. And then we'll figure out what is working. So we're going to create ads. And whoever is not on mute, if you can mute yourselves on our Zoomies. We have a couple people that were not. And then if you have anything, please do speak up. But we also have somebody manning the Zoom because we do have a lot of people on Zoom today. We're also live on the Facebook, so David and I will try to man Zoom and Facebook to get those questions. If not, we will email you afterwards so we can pay attention to the people that are also here in person. So then David's going to come up here and give you his education on how to create ads that are going to just really take this plan and put it into space for you, hopefully. Also, you're going to gain one-on-one feedback. We're going to have discussion on exactly what it means to find keywords online. For myself, I also know David has in his worksheet to create a mock-up ad with you. So by the end of today, you'll know how to search keywords to make better content. You're going to have some content structure on my worksheet, and you're also going to make a mock-up ad with David. So if you want to take a look at what this actually looks like when you put it in play, we're going to be able to do that today. So it's really cool. We have over 28 slides, so we're going to fly through this so we can get to one-on-one questions because that's where the magic happens. What's next? Oh, your clicker to work?
It works.
Yeah. I'm click happy, so hopefully I don't. And I told you a little bit about us already. If you wanted to know more, just please ask. With over 15 years, longer than that, over 20 years in the industry between the two of us in the marketing world. I know David has a ton of clients. I also have a ton of clients. That means nothing. The reason you have a lot of clients is because you deliver results. And that's what we want to do for you today. So let's get social. Everybody, and at this quote, I truly believe, I hear that all of the time from one of my mentors, Chris Dew. If you don't know who Chris Dew is and Produce the Future, I suggest you follow him. This is his motto. If you have 1,000 true followers, you will build an empire. So we have a chance to have over, how many people do we have on Zoom?
Well, I have to cancel on this for a second.
And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us here today. I think we have like 5 or 6. 4 people on Zoom. So you have a chance to enhance your following by 10 people today if you actually support and engage them. Online marketing is a social activity. It's not supposed to be a drop hole. So if you catch yourself only going on there to go outbound, what about your community? What about the back end? How are you engaging with them as well? It's not just about your business. It's about the value that you bring to your marketing online. And by truly supporting people and finding people that do that with you, you grow your community and your supporters. So let's just go around the room real quickly and let's find out what business we're with. Take a moment to follow them. I can tell you after every one of these master classes, I interact with Terry and Daphne. We've taught over 50 people. Terry and Daphne interact with me online. So I know that, and I'm going to interact with them, right? And so that's how it starts. So let us get to know each other a little bit.
I'm Sydney. I'm the Marketing and Community Engagement Manager at Tampa Group Company right over there. So I just started in January, a little bit newer to the industry, but been in marketing since I was in college and got my degree there.
Awesome. Welcome.
I'm Terry with Penny Rich Pools. We're a pool service company specializing in the equipment maintenance, repairs, replacements, but we do service as well. So.
Great.
Hi, my name is Camilla. I'm the marketing assistant for Simply Promotions, and I'm just very excited to be here.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Ron Landy with Lightning TV Advertising. We have out-of-home digital marketing screens throughout the communities, and we create commercials for businesses that run on our network.
Nice. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Daphne Thomas with Unbroken Dreams, and we have a nonprofit that helps people who are living on the streets and people who are coming out of incarceration. We have dependency on the system as also efficiency.
Everybody should follow. We should follow everyone, but everybody should follow good cause. So thank you. Who are you?
Oh, who am I? Well, you're going to hear from me plenty. But I'm David. I'm with DCA Media Consulting. So I do digital marketing, content creation, and again, I've worked with Sonya for a long time. And these right now is kind of what both of us really enjoy now, is kind of working with people like you all and teaching all these kind of skills. So I'll give you'll hear plenty of me later.
Awesome. And on our online folks, we're gonna get moving, but if you wanna put in the comments who you are in between our classwork, we will highlight you guys as well, but we're gonna keep it moving so we can cover everything today. All right, let's do it, you guys. Let's supercharge this content. Let's find out a little bit about ourselves though first, so we can help you specifically. So I'm going to compare this to fishing. So what kind of fisher person are you, right? Do you like, and so raise your hand. I'm going to give you some scenarios. Do you like to learn how to fish, go fish, catch the fish, cook the fish? Raise your hand if you like to do all of those things. Okay. Okay, we got one, kind of, halfway.
Yeah.
What about, was it clean the fish and cook the fish that got you out?
I love catching the fish, and then also I love eating the fish. So.
Okay. And so, who likes to just learn how to fish and catch fish? Okay. Who likes the fish cooked for them? We got 2 people who like the fish cooked for them. Okay. Who doesn't like the fish at all? Is that why we get no hands here?
I like to cook.
You like to cook the fish. Okay. All right. You like the fish already to be done and then to cook it, so to finalize it. All right. To produce the production of it. Okay.
The most important thing is learning how to catch the fish.
Yes. But this also helps us learn a little bit about ourselves. I compare the social media or online marketing to fishing. That's what you're doing. You're attracting people to you using different ways, different technologies. It's just like fishing. You choose what you use to bring the people in, right?
That was me. I'm checking the Zoom out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Who didn't mute?
It was me.
David. So, and then to the people who likes to just get the fish served to them. I want the cooked fish. So that means somebody else should be doing the strategy and production for me if I like the cooked fish. If I like to learn how to fish, right, and I'm doing that activity to bring them in, then I like the planning and the strategy behind it, possibly. So learning your marketing language is just as important. What do you enjoy to do? That is what's going to make you successful in the social media world. You see how I just clicked backwards a bunch of times? I love to click it in my hand. So here we go. So I just want to learn a little bit about you guys before we get started, because we have a little bit of everywhere, and that's the marketing world. So digital media gives us the opportunity to promote our business to endless amounts of potential customers. Do you believe that? Do we know how many people joined social medias in the last year? Over 4 million. Okay, so that gives them an idea that we don't have to talk to 4 million people though. And that's kind of where people go wrong. They try to talk to everyone and they try to take over a platform instead of an industry. Social media is about the people, not about your business. When you provide the value, the people will provide you the business. Value is what you want to bring to your marketing. Value is what helps them learn more about your business, but also about your services and your character and the community that you want to build amongst your platform. First things first, let's discuss how to connect online and maximize your efforts. So I always start with the target audience. Sounds weird, you think people want to start with goals, but we need to learn exactly who we want to talk to before I can really even put those things in place. So this is where I start with clients and we go deep. We want to first look at who already buys our product and the services. How old are they? So I'm going to refer to your worksheet here. On your worksheet, I gave you how to define your PC. What's your PC? That's your perfect customer. I would do this to your current audience. And then I would also create this to the promotions we want to create to bring them into our marketing. I'm going to create this for every funnel I create. Every funnel, not just one. Because each platform is a little different and I need to know how to talk to them specifically. So who? Like no more guessing. Let's build our perfect customer resume that targets the specific audience you want. And then the next part is, where are you going to find those people? What platform works best? And so how we figure this out is we pull our insights and we do our research. So let's just look at the sheet real quick before we go into competitive analysis. So this asks them very specific questions. What is their age? What is their lifestyle? Where do they spend their money currently? The pain point, right? What are they struggling with specifically, and how can you help them? So the more I get to know my customers, the more I'm able to know how to talk to them and where I'm going to be able to reach them again. So when I get really specific into this, and I even think about where they spend time online, if they're not spending time on Facebook, why are you promoting on Facebook? So if I like to make video a lot, then I'm going to create a channel that supports my videos, right? And there's many platforms once you make video that you can then take that and reuse it into more. Video is still the number one thing that sells services. It's not going anywhere. We have to learn how to adapt, right, in order to connect. Now, once you make that video, where can you plug it in? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And then you start thinking about the format you make that in and how many places that format you can use it for. The next thing I do after getting very specific about my PC, and David and I are going to talk a lot about very similar things because you have to evaluate this in each step along the way of your process. So knowing what content that you need to put out that's going to engage well, value, helpful, brand content. What is brand content? Telling your story. You're the only person that can tell your story. You're the only person that actually knows your story. For those of us that work in marketing positions, it's our job to know the mission, the purpose, the why this business is open. What is the reason that they provide this service? Why did they get into it in the first place? That's how we talk to people. By creating a story that people can follow along with, it keeps them engaged. They check back. Oh, remember when Terry was just starting out her business and she was working on her branding and she was working on all of the visual brand kit? I look at your stuff. I want to know where you're at in that story. How far have you developed since the first time we met? Right? That's what keeps me plugged into your business and where you're at. And then I currently don't have a pool, but if I were to get a pool, I'm probably going to call Terry because we already have a relationship. So you see how people put that together? But you can not actually personally know somebody and make them feel like you have a relationship with them by being interactive and engaging online. Comment back with words instead of an emoji. If I gave you 3 sentences and you give me a clap emoji, I probably won't comment again. Right? Take the time for quality connection online and it will give you back the value. So our competitor analysis, this is the big one. This is where we really learn some things. So success leaves crumbs. Stop guessing what works and do competitor research for the best results. Use the platforms you want to dominate as a search engine and also check Google. I feel real fancy with this clicker today. Need this in my life. So here's what we look for specifically. How do we do this? Let's give the example of boxing equipment. So I'm going to look into Google and I'm going to put in boxing equipment on the top. If you give it time to populate, it's going to pop out probably 10 things underneath what you just put in there. Don't even hit search yet. Look at all of the words that pop up. Those are all content ideas. So now what if you put in how to boxing equipment? And it starts to say how to put boxing equipment away, how to keep your boxing equipment clean, how to keep your boxing equipment in best shape, how to use your boxing equipment properly, how to be most effective by using your boxing equipment. You see where I'm going with this? I never said I'm selling my boxing equipment to you. I'm helping you with all of these ways to use your boxing equipment. This method is an attraction marketing method. It takes time to build this. Can you do a hybrid and do attraction marketing as well as direct marketing? Absolutely, it's what I do for my business. So I attract you and then I tell you what I got. I attract you and I tell you what I got. If I'm not closing you in that attraction funnel that I just created, that's what I have to take a look at. That's my percentage. That's my conversion rate. So let's keep it to this because I like to go all the way down the path. So then the other things that I'm looking for, now I'm on the platform. So this is how I use Google. Now my client wants to get onto Instagram. They want to dominate Instagram. They sell online. So there's not a specific area that they have to sell to. Maybe they don't want to sell to Oklahoma. Okay, fine. Right? So I'm going into Instagram, and the first thing I do is I'm going to look up hashtags. That's search engines on that platform. Each platform has their own search engine. Each platform has numerous channels that you can take over. Instagram, for example, has stories reels, and posts. Those are 3 news feeds in one platform that you're planning content for and storytelling for. So what I want to do is I want to go on there and see what is working. And then I also want to pay attention to what is quality content, what are people engaging with on this channel. The first thing I tell clients to do is to pick out 2 competitors that they're in love with, and then what channel online entertains them. You dig into these 3 things and you figure out their messaging, the story that they're telling, the way that they engage that works, the content that works, the positioning, the tone. That's the stuff we're paying attention to on competitor research. It's probably one of the most important things that you do. That's why I laid it out second after your PC. Because now we've figured out who we want to talk to. Now we're figuring out how we want to talk to them. So here's my recipe for success there. 2 competitors and what entertains you. Because you have to start putting yourself in the mind frame of entertaining them. I know we're in business, but this is why people stay connected. How are you helping them? What value are you bringing? How are you entertaining them? What story are you telling for them to get to know you? This is what your schedule plan will be consist of. So what is working? Immerse yourself. When I get a new client, I'm in it before we even start posting for at least 2 weeks. What else am I doing? I'm aligning my channels with those people who already dominate. Those are the people that I want to be seen in the same company with. They're currently that platform's authority. The platform decides who the authority is by the engagement, right? The algorithm, the interaction, all of those things. I don't need to take over Instagram. I just need to take over Instagram for the people that are out there offering pool service. Facebook, TikTok. Same thing with breweries. Why should they come to your brewery over the other breweries that are around there? What do they receive? That's what people want to know to make the buying decision. How are you going to make them feel? What's the vibe? The way you tell your story is how you're going to interact with your community. So after I define my PC and I do my competitive research, we now start talking about really specific goals. But I want to know what I have to do to get there. So that's why I start with the other 2 things first. This is what a SMART goal is. If you don't know what a SMART goal is, you can take this and apply it to your entire life, anything you want to create. The more specific you are, the more timeline you put in front of yourself, the more realistic it is, the more chance you actually have of doing it. So when I interview with clients, as we interview people, right? Not everybody is a great fit. What is your expectation with this service? How quickly do you want this to grow? I need customers next week. Okay, well, we move a lot slower than that, right? So if they want customers next week, I'm already knowing that this is like a really time-sensitive situation. So then we have to talk back off that cliff, and what do you specifically want online? Well, I want more followers. Why do you want more followers? Because I want more customers. Okay, well, followers don't mean customers, so you want more engagement. We have to start breaking down the way that we communicate with these platforms, because it's not about the followers, it's not about the views. The engagement and the interaction is what gets you put into the algorithm. So you think of it as an A to F scenario. And if we all start out with like F, we have to slowly build our way up to where we want to be, right? Just like in school. So you're slowly taking over. So a great example of a SMART goal, I want to drink more water. It's not really a goal. I want to drink 80 ounces of water every single day, and I need to do that by 8 p.m. That's a SMART goal. Want to come in?
I can't say.
Oh, it's okay.
Kind of like peeking in for a minute.
Yeah.
At 11 o'clock, so.
So that is what a SMART goal is, really specific. You're telling yourself when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and what you're going to do. It's the same thing online. Great job. Great job. Water's very important. Stay hydrated. All right. So now we're going more into goals. Typically, I went ahead and pulled it out for you. This is the 4 things people want. They say it in different words. This is what they want. Sometimes they want all 4 of those. So we actually have to create different kind of content for each one of those. If I'm creating brand content, it might help me get one sale because I'm building trust with that brand content. But what I'm really doing is building community. I'm telling that story so they feel more comfortable with me, because you get the follow first. First you start seeing them like your stuff. That's when you engage back, like what we talked about. Now we're commenting back and forth with each other online, right? And so now I'm asking for the follow. Then I'm getting them into my email list so I can long form communicate with them the way I want to communicate with them, which is different than online. I can be more personable. I can tell them more things. I can offer them more value. Now I have them in my email list. We've gone back and forth twice. Now I'm asking for the sale because I've earned it. I've helped them. I've added value. And so now I'm going to ask for the sale if it's appropriate. Can I help them? Not just because I want a sale. Consistency is key. Creating a result-driven plan that you have time for is crucial to your success. When I meet with people, they say they're trying to post 6 times a week. Okay. You know how much time that takes to make that content? Not even to make the plan. And I want to post on 4 platforms. That's a lot of time. It's probably going to take you in between 8 to 10 hours a week if you don't create a plan first. Because a lot of people will go on to make the post. They don't actually have a plan. And then they make the post. Takes them about an hour and a half. Then they don't like something about it and they don't end up posting it anyways. You wasted an hour and a half of your day and then didn't get done what you wanted to do. This is like a chronic story that I hear from people that are having issues with content online. So by identifying the goals and why I'm doing it, I want more customers and I want to build my community. That's completely can put those 2 together. And now you're creating 2 different kinds of content to speak to them specifically. See? And I want to be consistent with that message. I want to be able to do that 3 to 4 times a week. And I want to be able to do that with 1 video a week. This is my goals, not your goals. Make your own goals. So if I know that the platform that I want to be on, which per se is Instagram for right now, because that's what we've been talking about, or TikTok, I know I have to make video for that. Video takes about an hour for me to create, and I have a little bit more experience. Now I can batch this and make 6 to 7 videos at the same time, but that's going to take me probably about 3 hours. Now I have however many videos, and I know I want to do 1 a week, right? But I have to make sure that I have the time in my schedule to create that batching of those videos, and then I have to make sure that I'm either A, giving it to a contractor to schedule out, because what kind of fisher person are we? Do I like to create it? Or do I like to learn it? Do I like to create it? Do I like to go do it? And then I want to produce it? The way we start to get more success and balance is to find people that help us with these things where we lack. Because there's a lot of steps in social media, digital marketing, and that was one of the first things that I wanted to make our mindset a little bit different on, is how are we bringing the fish in? Do I have time to complete all of the steps? This is why we're talking about this, and the goal of what our marketing is, because these are the things we need to think about before we go. Because we don't build confidence by not being successful. The number one way that I build confidence for myself online is by looking at my insights and my data. So that's why that goes back to one of the first things that we do. What are we currently doing right? That's the way you're already speaking to your community. Don't lose that. And now you just may need to add some salt and pepper for improvement. So then how do we choose the right platform? I always encourage the 80-20 rule. 80% on the platform that is working for you most or that you're working on, 20% on a secondary platform that you're building. I started my business on Facebook. 3 years ago, I decided to move to Instagram because I thought that would be better for me. And I'm slowly moving my way back to Facebook because I had a higher conversion rate. Am I going to stop the progress that I had on Instagram? Absolutely not. It's now going to be my 20. But the only way I knew this is by pulling the data and taking a look at that. You're the one who decides what a conversion is. That could be somebody in your business, that could be a lead into the email, right? So what are you basing this success on also? If it's just followers and likes and you're seeing more engagement, great. But we want to base it on conversions and engagement. The conversion is where you're sending people, and it should be measurable. It should have a little booby trap in it, right? A link that they can click on that told me I was successful. If I have nothing in my process to tell me that I'm being successful, I don't know anything besides what the platform has given me. So how you extend your insight and data research is by adding more ways in your funnel to learn what they like. So I know I attracted them on Instagram. I know now in my email marketing, but I don't know anything more about them. How do I? I add links of interest. They click on those, that's a new tag. I shouldn't be communicating with that person the same way. So, for example, you guys go into my Masterclass folder. I'm going to send you the things from the class after this. If you click on the worksheets again, I know kind of that you're probably redoing in work. You know, especially if you open it, but it tells me all of these things, especially if you're in the sales process. So important. Where do you lose them? Where you lose them is what you can work on. If they're getting to the landing page, the content's working. If they're not getting to the landing page, take a look at your content. So, what are your strengths? We've talked about that a lot because that's how we're going to build the confidence. That's what I want to focus on. What platform are you comfortable on is something important to ask yourself, because if you're not ready to do video, don't do it. Start somewhere else, right? There's so many other things. We've talked, there's stories, there's posts. Facebook have these things too. If you're not comfortable with video, don't open a TikTok. That's all it is. Same thing with YouTube. Got to work up to that. Be specific and stop spraying. Your message doesn't have to be everywhere. You can dominate on Facebook. I have clients that only have Facebook. They do amazing. I have clients that only have Instagram. Also do great. I have clients that focus on email marketing. So it can be anything to you. What are you trying to add and why? Or what are you trying to fix and why? So, that went really good. Okay, I went fast. I had like 16 slides. Normally I have 4. I was like, I'm never going to make it through this. David's going to kill me because I talk. So let's wrap it up. A few more things to help you find your sweet spot online. The sweet spot does exist. Don't let people tell you that it doesn't. It does. Right? What of your competitors are already doing that? Follow them. Align with them. Content is queen, but context is God. It is online. You're telling your story. You're adding value to get something specific. Plan that something specific from all of this amazing, beautiful, hard work you've done. No matter what you do, your job is to tell your story and add value with your promotional content. It's not about likes or views. It's about conversions and improving the engagement rate. Video is the #1 way to sell your services. The format bonus I gave you on the worksheet is our pastor formula, how to create engaging content. So what is that? There are formats out there for copy. There are formats out there for creating content. So this is one of the ones you can use to create copy as well as your content. So good content has a problem, a pain point, or a person that is identifiable. Tony Robbins, for example. He doesn't have to do much to get you to watch his video anymore. That's the idea of the influential person in your video. The pain point or the problem. Recently, we put out a video on our St. Pete Veterinary Hospital page a couple weeks ago. It was Animal Prevention or Poison Prevention Week. So we created this video that had some points in it that could have been, talked about or people didn't like. But the pain points are people typically give their pets raw meat, cats. So it's not suggested that you give cats raw meat. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because the video went viral like crazy. Okay? It has, like 700 and something shares to it. So you can imagine the benefit to that veterinary hospital. So after it started to go viral, we fell in the algorithm of the folks that do feed their people raw meat. They went crazy in the comments. So at first, me and my staff were like, oh God, we're gonna have to take this video down. So we called the vet, this is what's going on. You know what, no problem. I'm gonna call my facilitator who is a professional in this space and we're gonna get his podcasts and we're gonna quote some of the things that he mentions about it. Now, before we fell into that algorithm where the people disagreed with the raw meat and some of the other things that were in the video, that's why we made the video, is because yes, it's extremely helpful information, but there were some things in there that people could respond to and disagree with or agree with. You can do this with any service, right? You can do that with your charity, right? Not everybody's going to believe in your cause, but why should they? So we go further down this rabbit hole. Before we started that, the video had 200 and something shares. At the end of it, it's got 700 and something shares. We quieted the negative comments by posting the correct information of what our client believes is the correct information. And that thing is still a gift that keeps on giving. The video and the idea behind it took us like a week to create it and as a company. But this video is a gift that keeps on giving and we can share over and over and over again. And then we can even take that idea and reuse it into something else. Now, we already talked about breaking it into pieces. Since there was such controversy on raw meat, now we might cover raw meat. Since there was such controversy on why not to give your cat canned tuna, we might drop a template, not even a video, on why you shouldn't feed your cat canned tuna. You see how one piece of popular content now gives you 4 other ways to dissect it up and again speak to that same audience that you've now worked so hard in attracting in to keep communicating with them. They want to know how to keep their cat healthy and what they're not supposed to do and what they are doing is right. So we're going to put the content out there that feeds that passion point. So that is your piece. And then we amplify that. So that's what I just explained, was the amplifying of first the pain point, then we dissect it out so we know how to talk to them more. And the story or the solution. Again, we're now going further into solution with that piece of content. Here are other ways that you can care for your cat, right? The transformation. So it's going to be important that we put out content from a client that has had this problem. Now, I have my own cat, and she's very finicky. I can't give her raw meat. I'm not going to use myself, but we'll use a transformation testimonial. That, yes, this is why we mentioned it, and this is what can happen when you do it correctly. And so then to close, we're going to get more responses. So then we pay attention to those responses, and that's the content that you create next. What are they really interested in? That's all the name of this game is, and it is. It's like a game. It's hard to get going, but once you figure out how to get it going, you know then how to start talking to your different communities of people that are inside your channel, because you have multiple points of communities. But how are you speaking to each individual one? First, we figure out one funnel and we get it active, get it rolling. Then we create another one. You can create another one and another one. And it's the same thing with adding platforms. Once you feel really secure on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, you can then add another one. So Facebook and Instagram typically go hand in hand because you can schedule them together, but you should be putting out a little bit different content on there, and the strategy should be a little different. Like right now, stories are the way to bring in followers. If you're not sharing the stories, start. It should be probably one of the most things that you do on Instagram right now besides video. That is all I have. Does anybody have any questions? It's my time.
Good. Yeah, no, I'm sure I'm gonna zoom in there. Good.
All right.
We'll do another round at the
Yeah.
end too.
I'm gonna pass it over to David, and he's gonna go right into ads and how you can light all that stuff on fire.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now bear with me, I'm sure we all got the early morning wake up call, so I have not survived from whoever's idea was to do a emergency alert at 4:50 in the morning, so bear with me, but we're gonna go through this pretty quickly here. So exactly what Sonya just teed up for me, we're gonna talk about the ad side of it, right? So she's been talking about organic and talking about how you're gonna set that up. A lot of that translates into what I'm gonna talk about now, but what we're doing is we're gonna really put more fire behind it. We're going to put some money behind it. And it's risky, right? No one wants to waste money and spend it. But when you get really good at the side that Sonya's talking about, and you have all this becomes a lot easier. And because there's some overlap to it. But this is a great way that when you finally get that organic set up, you have your content set up, you have your audiences, you know that now you're like, you know what? Now I'm willing to bet on myself and on my business that I'm going to put some money behind it, with some true intention of what I want my customer to do. So let's talk about our ad campaigns really quick. Right? So I want to make clear that what we talk about here is not platform specific, okay? Platforms work differently. There may be some different tweaks, but the core principles that we're talking about work on any ad platform, okay? So, number one, something that Sonya just really touched on, and I will touch on briefly again, is define your target audience, right? So you need to know and understand who this audience is. Now, when we're talking about a paid campaign, within your audience, there may be subgroups that you're going to be targeting specifically. Because if you have an item that you would like to promote to maybe one portion of your audience, then you need to focus on them. So for example, right, my business, we work with family entertainment centers like trampoline parks. There are two separate campaigns that we run. Our ad audience, we know, is we have kids and teenagers, right, that see it, looks cool, looks fun. But then we have ones for parents, right? So they're all lumped together in our target audience, but those are two separate ads that we're focusing on. So it's important to know who are we targeting. So if we're targeting something for the parents, those are the ones who are going to be paying, right? Kids don't have any money. So that ad needs to look at things about like the value that they provide, how much a birthday party is, or what great fun your kids are going to have for your money. Because that's what's going to be important for them. They want the kids to have fun. They want it to be affordable. The other one, we know it's going to be toward maybe some teenagers. We just want to show how fun the place is, right? So we're not necessarily looking for a sale. We're looking to make sure we're getting in front of these kids and maybe creating some engagement and excitement. So that's why it's important to know when you're running the ad campaign who that target audience is, not over just for your business, but that specific campaign. Visuals, right? Same thing that Sonya's talked about. Your content. Now the great thing is you can do a little bit of cheating here, right? And when I say cheating, it's a good thing. Meaning you're doing all this hard work to create content that's engaging, that's eye-catching, right? Great visuals. When you have a good piece of organic content that you now have created, you looked at your insights, you're like, man, people really like that. You can use that and put that into an ad campaign. Because it's already gone through its social proof phase, basically. Now, in case you don't know, social proof basically means it's showing the engagement, the likes rate. How do people respond to it? Does it have a positive response? Yes? Great. Let's use that. Because if you start sometimes cold with an ad campaign of like, all right, maybe I'm going to do a video today, and I'm going to, talk about this specific product, right? So for like the brewery, right, we have this new ale coming out, right? We want to really focus, but we've never put this content out before. You can test it, right? But you're spending money on that test, right? So traditionally, if you're just going to start from, I'm creating an ad campaign, you really want to have 1, 2, 3 different forms of content. You put them all at the same time, and you see which one performs better after, let's say, a week or two, and you say, all right, these two not that great, I'm going to do this one because this one's performing. That's usually how it's done. It's very easy. But if you already have been active in your organic side about your content, you can say, well, look, this post and this post have always been performing well for us. So why don't we take these and turn them into an ad campaign? But it's important to test either in the ad or look at your organic. Because there's no one in this room, even myself, who I've been doing this for a long time, can confidently say, oh yeah, that's going to work. You can't. You can have a pretty good idea. You're like, I think this will probably work better, but the data is always going to come back, and that's what's going to prove what's going to be the most valuable piece of content to use for your ad campaign. So again, anything that's visually appealing, attention grabbing, especially when you're in an ad campaign, you're spending money, right? So what you're doing is you're fighting for eyeballs. Similar to an organic, but now you got money on the line. So we want to make sure that when people pass by it, they actually take a second to actually look at it and not just scroll by it. Because if it looks so much like a standard ad, right? So when this all started, especially Facebook ads got popular, what a lot of companies do is they took their TV commercial and they just put it on as a Facebook ad. You know what people saw? They're like, that's a TV commercial, gone, right? That's why now you'll notice a lot of brands are using like user-generated content. So basically it's not like a face from the company. It looks like just a customer talking about that because it fits into the feed. It looks like a normal post. And before it's too late where you realize, oh wait, this is a sponsored ad, you're already listening to it and understanding it. So your ad copy, right? Same thing in your post. Your ad copy should be concise, clear, relevant to your target audience, and use persuasive language that highlights the benefits of your product, right? So we have a short window once we got them to stop and look at the ad. So we want to make sure we get to the point, right? We don't want this long essay on the top talking about how great our product, our company is. Let's just get to the point. What are we providing? What's the value to that customer? What does it do for them, right? For a lot of companies, especially when they start out, they talk about how great they are. But let's just talk about what's great for the customer. What would be great for you, right? So if I have a product that can save you money, I'm going to start with, this is what it's going to do. This is going to save you so much money. Do you want to see how I could save you $100 today, right? It's always those like, oh, okay. It's that, what can I provide for you? And then here's the solution for it. So when you do that ad copy, that's where you want to get to, you really want to get to it so they stop. Because if you think about your experience when you're online and you're looking at it, right, you kind of scroll, right, and shake your head if it's yes, if not, or maybe I'm just weird. But you scroll, you look at whatever it is, the video or the photo. If that interests you, where do you go next? You go to the ad copy, right? So that's why it's so important. The visuals gets them to stop, and then they're like, okay, I'm interested. Now you're going to close them here in the ad copy, give them that reinforcement, because they're going to look really quick. It's human nature. You look at it, and if you have a nice, clear, concise ad copy of what's going on, okay, I'm going to continue either watching the video or I'm going to explore. So that's why those two work together harmoniously. And the great thing is when you start running ads, again, the same idea we talked about testing different content, you can test different ad copy. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, let's say, some different versions of content here, and then I'm going to have different versions of, look at my visual today, this is great. I can't help it. I have my copy. And what happens is I said, all right, this one worked great, this content, and this copy worked great. So you know what I'm going to do? Put them together, right? Very easy. Doesn't need to be an exact science. We let two things happen. We let the platform decide what is delivering the best, and we're going to let the user decide what's performing best. We don't need to decide it. We just need to give it some options The platform will do all the heavy lifting, the users will do the heavy lifting, and then all you have to do is be on top of it and connect them together.
I have a question.
Yes,
Because I just think it's really helpful.
yes.
How long do you test content before you go into the ad? Because obviously you can use this exact recipe for your content and then you really define it. But how long do you suggest that?
I mean, usually what I like to do is like a week, right? I give it a week because that's usually the life cycle of like even like an organic post now. Like sometimes they'll still share stuff for like up to a week. I don't think they do anything really more like that. So I generally say people like a week. It's kind of easy to manage. You know what I mean? You say, all right, I'll give this a work week, right? Give it 5 days, and then we'll see. We'll come back. Same thing, organic post. Same thing I'll do for an ad. I'll give it about 5 days or so because you got to give it time to get out. Let the algorithm actually get it out to people, get it to enough people. So you can either do it by day or you can do it by how many people it's reached. So if you reach 1,000 people and you know you're not getting anything, it's a good chance it's not working, right? Just it determines what you're doing, but there's other factors. But usually that's a good ballpark if you just have it in your head. Perfect. Experimenting with ad formats, right? So this is what we're talking about when we talk about not only the content. Every platform has different ways that you can deliver an ad. So for example, Facebook offers like image ads, video ads, carousel ads, right? That you can swipe all through them. Google offers YouTube ads. They offer display ads. If you don't know display, basically if you're on a website, you're scrolling through the article. In between the paragraphs of the article, there's an ad. It's a display ad. So there's all these different versions that you can do. And of course, through Google, you can obviously have their pay-per-click on their search. So if I Google, pools or whatever, then you could bid to be on there. So there are a plethora of different versions that you can do if you really want to get granular. Maybe you want to run just ads on stories, right? You can do that. Or you can just say, you know what, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, run it everywhere. And let's see which one performs best. You can do that as well. And you can actually go into the data and the insights and break down. Let's say if you're trying to get people to click over to see your website, you can see where the placement is performing best. So you're like, you know what, my stories seem like I'm performing best. Then let's turn off everything and take our money and put it all into stories. Because again, we have to be strategic here because again, we have money on the line. We want to make sure we're very efficient with it. And a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, don't have that much money to put on the line. So we need to be as very cautious and efficient with it as possible. And then that leads me to, of course, you want to experiment at first. Let it decide. Let's see where it performs best. The great thing now, these systems are it wasn't like when it started. The systems are so efficient now that it can do a lot of the heavy lifting. You're never going to beat the algorithm. And people were like, back in the day, I'm going to do it here, run it here, trick it. No.
Keywords is the only way.
Yeah.
To beat the
Yeah,
algorithm.
it knows. And remember, these platforms want users to stay on their platform. So Facebook wants people to stay on Facebook. If your ad is performing well, it will reward you and serve it to people cheaper. Why? Because it's keeping people on the platform. If they start putting out ads that are not very great, they're not targeted to you properly, it's stuff you don't want, then what's going to happen? People are going to leave Facebook. Do they want that to happen? No. So it's a mutual agreement that, hey, we're going to serve your ads to people, to relevant people, and we'll make sure we'll get in front of the right people, but you need to make sure it's a good ad. And if your quality score, which is on there, is higher, again, you're rewarded. It becomes a lot cheaper. So when you start doing this, you get a lot better at it. Your ad quality score stays high. You'll notice that, let's say your cost per click to get to your website is cheaper. Your cost per 1,000 people, which is your cost per impression, is cheaper. So that's how it's determined.
Per lead.
Mm-hmm. For lead too. So again, test and optimize your ad campaigns to improve them, right? You want to look at your click-through rate. Basically, that means how many times your ad was shown and how many times someone clicked through it, okay? Or your cost per click to see what's working and what's not. Set your clear goal. So we talked about how you're going to set it up. You got your content, you have the copy, you have everything, right? Now we want to make sure that your goal is to make sure that you align with the overall business objective. What do you want this ad to do, right? Now this is the most crucial part. Do you want your ad to go to people to go to the website, just to go to it? Or do you want a lead? Do you want a sale? Do you want engagement on the post and the ad itself? Do you want someone to watch a video? These are all options that the platform will give you. So when you're looking at setting up an ad campaign, you need to make sure you know exactly where you want your customer to go. And when you tell these platforms, I want someone to fill out my lead form, it will search people that have that habit of filling it out and find them. So it's very, very crucial. If we're just doing, let's say, I just want people to go to my website. Why? What happens when they get to their website? Are you sending them to a specific landing page, which then will convert them? Or are we just sending them to our webpage? Then we're wasting money. Very, very specific, right? If I want people to see my ad and I want them to engage on it because I want people to like, comment, and share on it so I can get some social proof on it, let's do an engagement ad. It's very purposeful because we know we're going to get some engagement. And when you do that, you can also take that engagement ad, run it again, and now you can have it as purposely running to, let's say, a lead form. But now when they see the ad, you're going to see this ad with a bunch of comments and likes and shares, and people are naturally, right, because we all have FOMO, right? We don't want to miss out on something that everyone else is talking about. Like, whoa, this is kind of important. Maybe I should look at it. So you got to be very, very purposeful with what you're doing. And I'm sure most people, like I said, I just want to get some sales. Well, there's a complicated way of getting sales, and there's an easy way, right? Do we want to make the customer work for it, or do we want to make it as easy as possible for them to give you some money, right? Easier is better. And this is why it's important to know exactly what you want your customer to do and then setting that goal. And then your budget, right? So you need to set your budget realistically for what your ad campaign and across your different ad sets, and you want to make sure it fits for your business. Again, I've worked with multiple small businesses, and this is always the hardest part. They just don't have the money, right? So you should keep your expectations and your budget at the same level, right? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the more you spend, the more you're going to get. Because if you don't do all these other things that we talked about, it doesn't matter how much money you spend, right? Because if you're very good at this, you may not have to spend as much. But realistically, you need to look at what your budget is capable, and then you could see, all right, maybe with my budget is really small. Maybe I just start with a Facebook and Instagram ad campaign. Or maybe you start to grow. Maybe I can start to add in Google and some search or some YouTube. So as your budget grows, then you can expand it out, because ultimately what you want to do is you want to not just be focused on one, you want to be on as many as you can if that fits into your target audience, right? So it's very, very important to know. And there's no magic number to how much should I spend. There isn't. There's no magic number. It really does come down to how much can you do, and let's work backwards. That's what I always tell, especially like the smaller businesses. I said, well, how much is your budget? And we'll work backwards. Then we can see what'll fit for there. So, I mean, there's people that literally run like maybe $300-400, a month, which is still a good chunk of change. But when you look at an ad campaign, it's still small to the average. But if you're getting an ad return of like 15x, 20x on your 400, that's a success, right? So as you get more business, then you can add more to that ad budget, and then that return is going to get bigger and bigger. So something to really, really look at is keep sure with your budget. Start off a little bit smaller, conservative, get used to how these ads work. And remember, creating a successful campaign requires ongoing effort and experimentation. Keep track of what works and what doesn't, and adapt your strategy accordingly. There is no blueprint for it because it constantly changes, right? This right here, this is marketing 101. This will never change. The platforms, what they offer, what type of content, what type of copy, always changes constantly. That's why we need to make sure we stay on top of our ad campaigns. I know plenty of people that they ran something, they look at it for 6 months. They're like, it's not working anymore. I'm like, because it's 6 months ago.
Stop working.
It stopped working. Yeah. Let alone you're getting ad fatigue already. Like they're seeing the same thing. So it's important to stay on top of this. But the good thing is if you're already on top of what Sonya's talking about, right, with your content and everything like that, then you're already in that habit. You already have content that you can update it. So it's the same thing. It's just you want to manage this and stay on top of it and keep track of it. A lot of ad campaigns when you start doing it is going to be numbers. It's a lot of data, right? But it's very, very simple to see. You're going to see let's say you're trying to get people to your landing page. You're going to see how many people clicked on it, the click-through rate, meaning how many people saw it and then actually clicked to it. It gives you that percentage. How much does it cost them or cost you for them to click to go to the website? And how many people filled out or bought from you? That's it. That's all your numbers. You're going to look at those numbers, and we're all business owners here, right? We have to do our own budgets and stuff like that, so we're used to numbers. So you can clearly see what's working and what's not, and then you can adjust from there. Oh, I did that fast. So, are there any questions from anything that Sonya talked about, that I spoke about for today? Well, before I end, so basically I kept picking this up. This is for you to work on. So this is your mock-up of an ad campaign. At some point when you're thinking about doing one or you want to just work on it, fill these out and start working in your head. What kind of my first ad campaign, if you never ran one before, what do I want to do? And work off of this. It'll be a lot easier once you get it down on paper. And then when you go to, let's say, Facebook or Google and you want to go and make an ad, you set up an account. We won't talk about it today. It's very easy though. You can go there. You'll see all this information is exactly there. Let's say, all right, what's your goal? What's your audience, right? Where are you targeting? What do you want us to do? So it'll be all there.
The same research you put into your content, you can put into ads. Before I reach out, because David runs all my ads for my clients, and before I reach out to David, I say, hey, I've seen this ad that's working really well for somebody. I'm having the video created now for the client. Can you run this ad?
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
And when Sonya's talking about like your competitor analysis, so a couple years back, Facebook, in their transparency, you can look at any competitor and see what ads they're running.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So if you go into like a business profile and you look on, it's around their about, but there's a box that'll say transparency, and you'll see if they are running any ads. And if it says yes, they're currently running ads, you can click on that and it'll show you exactly what ads they're running, which is amazing if you know you're going head to head with someone. So it's nice to keep that competitive edge and keep tabs of everyone, right? Now, we're not trying to copy them, but we want to make sure that, all right, we know what they're going for. So how can we make ours better?
Seeing if we have any questions in the chat from our folks online, or if you wanted to do an introduction before we log out today. On my worksheet, I did forget that I left you actually another bonus. If you need help with keywords, there is a website that you can visit to do that. Answer the Public. It allows you to do, I think, 3 searches, keyword searches, before you get charged. But this is a great place to start if you don't want to do the full search engine on each platform. I always suggest the Google tactic and YouTube, because Google and YouTube are the #1 search engines in the world. So starting there, obviously is going to align with some trendy content, but this is a great resource for keywords, and it's free for the first 3 searches. Anybody else, any questions online? We had Manuel, we had Chase, we had Farah, we had Cynthia, we had Lulu, and David, you're here, so
Yes.
you're hybriding.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm double. Count me as 2.
So we covered a lot. This is all strategy. This is the fun stuff. This is how you dig in and really get to learn more of what direction you want to go and how you grow your platform, how you build it, and really think of it as fishing. Like, what fish are you attracting? And what part of the process do you love? What part of the process can you do? And what part of the process can you not stand? And that might be something that you look at contracting out. Me personally, I don't really like to run ads, so I call my Simply Pro partner here, and I'm like, hey, can you help me with this with my business? So I also suggest that, because do not sit and struggle. Struggling doesn't build confidence. It builds lack. And we want to build confidence. Yeah. And we are here to help you in any way, shape, or form. We'll send this stuff to you via email, so you can have copies of it if you need to replay anything back. We're going to start that in process. So you see we have all of our tech gear set up today, so we try to do all of the things for you and us today. So we put out tips every Tuesday on our simplypromotions.marketing site. And the Simply Pros Business Club is coming soon, and we'll be accepting members soon.